and also as an English language specialist for the U.S. Department of State, and of course, as president of New York State TESOL. So let me go ahead and turn the next part of our time over to Laura.
Oh my goodness. Karen, thank you so much. We didn't get to introduce Monica, though, who is the current president of New York TESOL, my sidekick. And my name sounds like Becker, and hers is Baker. So you guys get to work that out. So all of you who are still alive and awake, if you would turn on your camera, there's my girl, Jennifer, Jermaine. Okay, anyone who feels comfortable, hint, yay. If you would come on to the show, and I need George, because do you see my background, George? Baby, I did that for you.
Oh my goodness, I love it. I'm so jealous.
Uh-huh. This is an honorary tribute to George, who brought us all together. He's the lifeblood of the ANPC. I had to search, okay, on the web for this puppy. There are a lot of white bookshelf backgrounds out there, but I said it has that green book and it has some kind of green vase, and I think I did it, okay? So there you go. That's my tribute to you. And if you could, what we're going to do is a really quick, chaotic greeting activity. It's going to take 30 seconds. When I say go, everyone is going to unmute. Yes, everyone. And I want you to say hello using the names of everyone on every box that you see. So it's all going to be in different order because our boxes of ourselves, our tiles are all different. So I might see, hello, James, hello, Monica, hello, Karen, hello, Mary, okay? And we're all going to do it at the same time. Your name will be heard at some point, okay? Are we ready? It's going to be chaotic, okay? So we're all going to unmute. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
Hello, James. Hello, Monica.
Sharon.
Hi, Sharon. Hi,
Hi,
Annie. Hi, Laura. Hi, Monica. Hi, Karen. Hi, Jorge.
Hi, Laura. Hi, Maria. Hi, Monica.
Jennifer. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Monica. Hello,
Oh, hi,
Ganesh.
Stephanie. Hi, Valerie. Hi, Gabby.
Georgia.
Hi, Saida.
Hey,
Pearlie.
Valerie. Hi, Saida. Pearlie.
Marisa.
Marissa.
Mari.
Hello, Laura. Hello, Jermaine.
Rosa. Betsy.
Margie.
Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Marcia.
Reggie Wall.
Elizabeth.
Arlene. Rosa.
Hey, what's good? Hello, Nadine. Yeah, Kate.
Hello, Rosa.
Hi,
Hey,
Stephanie.
Jenny, Kari, Jessica, Dana, Gracia. Hello.
Hello,
Yamana.
Kaya.
Hello, Anita.
Hello, Arlene. Hello, Rosa.
Jessica.
Hey, hello, Jennifer. Hello, Ganu. Hello, Stephanie. Hello, Valerie. Hello, Margie. Hello, Maria.
Hello, George.
Tina, Ebba, Maria, Edie, Lynn, Shadia, and Tyler.
Hello, everybody.
Awesome. That was fabulous. Fabulous. Okay, now I'm going to make you stand up and run around your chair, except I won't because I have sweatpants on. So I got dressed for you people. This is actually like, I'm actually wearing a matching earring and jewelry thing because I can be seen by someone. So this is very exciting. So Monica and I would like to ask you to go to the chat, open up the chat. Let's imagine a dream TESOL ANPC where all of us hardworking, completely underpaid volunteers from TESOL affiliates around the world, we all go for a fun, like, few days, okay? All expenses paid. Aya Tefel is going to pay for us. So put in the chat where you would go. I'm sure it's Pittsburgh. No kidding. What's the place you would go post-COVID if we could all get together for a fun, like, hotel few days together?
Well, I hope someone says New York.
Yeah. Easter Island.
Chicago.
And you have to do, I know it's the Eiffel Tower for you, girl, all the way.
It is right here.
I love it. Cyprus. Oh my goodness. Ontario. Who said Ontario? Is that someone from Ontario TESOL? Oh no. Okay. All right, you representing. Well, I noticed Spain comes up, and we do have some Spain TESOL people, so you guys need to invite us, and we'll all show up there.
Okay, but seriously, no one is going to write New York. We're New York State TESOL. Can someone say New York, please?
And
No one wants to come
Iceland?
visit us.
Seriously, Iceland over New York? Okay, thank you, Margie. All right.
I'm sure you would all like to come
wait
to
for
Florida.
everyone to start visiting New York again. We're so excited to have people start coming to New York.
Absolutely. Totally. Okay, so we are here for a few minutes to inspire, amaze, and get you fired up for conferencing in the virtual world. We just heard a lot of great information and details in the presentation that we just experienced. So we're hoping not to be redundant to that. So apologies if we are. Zimbabwe, I love it. Okay, Maryland. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to do better than that. All right, here we go. So before we get started, though, let me just say, let me share my screen so you can actually see what I'm looking at here. Okay. All right. So let's make sure we can all still see each other. Go back to our grid view. Okay. Fabulous. So Monica and I are just going to kind of go back and forth. We just have a few slides. We know that PowerPoint is the second killer after COVID, so we're trying to keep it light. This is really about Monica, me, and Clara Bowler, who was our conference chair, who couldn't come today, but she has contributed to this presentation and also, obviously, the conference. So first of all, you'll see the names have to start with B and end with R in order to run a successful conference.
We have strict rules for who gets involved with conference planning in New York State.
So if your first or if your last name does not start with a B and end with an R, I suggest you change your name and then you'll be all set. Okay, so here we go. We're going to talk a little bit about planning, because I think a great conference is really like a great ESL lesson, which means that the bulk of the work happens in the planning stage, but then in the moment you're very present and very connecting, and that you do that reflection afterwards. So that's kind of our metaphor for the conference. You're all great ESL teachers, so let's use that when we interact. Don't become some kind of like boring talking head, which you would never do with your students. Okay, we need that same energy that you bring to your classrooms when we conference plan.
So important, Laura, because we don't like when people come to conferences, they need to leave feeling inspired. They need to leave with that energy, and they need to be almost reminded why they're in the field they're in. So that was like always in our minds when we were planning, whether we're planning a webinar or planning a full conference, we're always thinking, okay, we got to get people livened up a little bit.
Exactly, which is why we usually torture you with like getting up and moving kind of activity. And we're going to do a version of Simon Says, which is Georgios Korpas Says, or Jorge or George, however you want to call it. But we'll save that for later. So if you're still awake in 25 minutes, he's going to give us a Simon Says. Okay, so planning process. One of the things that was really important was to bring in speakers that are really going to reflect our values and our mission. We wanted to decolonize the presentation panel, make sure that we had many multilingual people, teachers, scholars presenting, and also to really look towards rising stars. So being on social media, we know people like Emily Francis and Esther Park are fantastic teachers who give wonderful presentations. So we wanted to make sure that the names that our teachers are familiar with are going to be seen on that roster of speakers, because that brings in a lot of that new energy into the lineup. Part of the lineup too is to have our established speakers. We were lucky to have Diane Larson Freeman and Stephen Krashen, and really our TESOL stars. And we're in a new era. It's not as much of the guru era as it had been, but there are still some kind of universally known names. And what we kind of wanted to bring in with those familiar and what we call beloved TESOL greats is more informality. So maybe Monica can recall what happened with Stephen Krashen for his presentation.
So we love Stephen Krashen, but he forgot about his session. And so we were frantically like texting each other and trying to like, does anyone have his home number? We're trying to get a hold of him. So finally we make contact, but literally he joined Zoom while he was getting dressed. Like we actually saw Stephen Krashen like buckling his belt and putting on his jacket, and he was a little frazzled. He had bed hair, but he made it. He made it. It was great.
And actually, so many people said that was like the highlight of the conference for them, is seeing Stephen Krashen roll out of bed and just talk to us off the cuff. And Diane Larson Freeman also, just to see her in her living room and just to have something that is less formal, less stiff. I mean, we're not AAAL, no offense. So we want it to be, really not about reading off of papers, reading off of your screen, just something that is more fluid. And I think in a way, that's a benefit of Zoom, is that you're up close, really up close, let's say with Diane Larson Freeman. You're in her living room with her. It's not like you're sitting in the back of a big auditorium. So kind of letting it be more informal with those speakers. Trying to think about formats that would promote interactivity, because we know about obviously the fatigue of kind of watching. So having like lots of coffees, teas, lunches, quick teaching tips, the workshops, to kind of create that sense of a dialogue.
And honestly, it's so much of it is about personality. Like, as you can see, Laura and I have pretty big personalities. And I think that really,
No.
well, I'm trying to be nice to us, Laura. I think that's a nice way of saying,
saying
it.
We're
We're kind of like loud. Okay. We're kind of, we have big personalities. We have a big presence. So we need to make sure that translates though through Zoom. So it's like, it's tricky, but we like try to be very animated, just like I am with my students every day, like getting my middle school students or my elementary school students excited and engaged on Zoom. We do that for you guys too. We want everyone to be engaged. And by the way, we have prizes coming up, so no one leave.
Yes, stay awake for the prizes. And I think, what else I was thinking of too when you were talking, Monica, is with some of the sessions that you go to at online conferences, it's webinar style, because you kind of have to, because there might be hundreds of people and you can't have microphones on and off, right? Which you need for your big speakers. But if you can make every other session option to turn on your mic, because there's something about being muted all the time that is not very conducive for language teaching interaction.
Yeah, it's very stifling. Like even just that 1 minute where we all unmuted, like didn't it feel very freeing? Like you finally got to like hear your voice,
It's like we have voices. Okay. Another piece of planning was to really get people understanding what they would see at the conference. So we had our presentations early. We listed all of them. We had lots of photos of our presenters. We had presenters create quick video messages that they would send out. Another thing is, and my girl Jennifer from Georgia TESOL is here. She helped me a lot with just creating a simple portal, which I have a screenshot here, just using Google Slides. So basically, instead of using any kind of tools that would create stress for people, using all Google Forms, Sheets, Tools, Slides, and just Zoom. And it reduces all of the, I don't know how to access this, and I don't know what I'm doing. Because actually you can obviously link anything to a button on a slide. So we had a welcome center, an information desk, all those things just through a Google slide. And it helps too, because you're not as reliant on some third party. So this is another thing we have to talk about, is like trust issues. Monica and I have trust issues, which means that we didn't use any kind of platform. We did a pyramid of Zoom rooms, all linked to a Google Sheet. because we just felt it was going to reduce any stress outside of, things that were outside of our control.
And
Okay.
honestly, we tried to dialogue with our membership platform, our event registration platform, and we started going down this rabbit hole with like them creating an app for us, and it just wasn't, we weren't thrilled with what was happening, and it just seemed to be not worth it. So we called it off and we said, we're just doing it our way.
Yeah. You know that New York song, you did it your way, we did it our way. I'm not going to sing, although I might. You could stay tuned for that, and I will sing. I think that people, again, it's challenging. When you do have, we had, I guess, more than around 800 people come to the conference, which is about what we have in person. So when you have 800 people on a big webinar, you need the webinar function, and my university hosted that. But when you have a lot, we had 100 sessions in 2 days. So when you have all those sessions, none of those breakout rooms are going to be huge. So you don't really necessarily need a sophisticated platform, but every single session we did was live. We did nothing recorded. Because there is just something about the energy of you are right there at that moment interacting that we really wanted to keep. Okay, so promotion, frequent, fun. Last year was our 50th anniversary, so 50 days before our conference, we started a countdown, and we made a schedule of what kind of posts would happen. But we had things like our people posting about what was going to come up at the conference, things from the speakers, etc. But then during the conference too, we really need to designate people who are good on Twitter or good on Facebook to continuously promote what's happening at the same time. One of the things too that happens is when your speakers have big Twitter followings or Facebook groups, you get a lot more coverage that way too than just your own kind of network. Okay. Recognition. I think this is a really important piece too, is it was our 50th. So we spent a long time going back to our very first president in 1970, who's still alive. He's retired in California. And he wrote a message, and we went through every president that we could find. We created a big board on our website, and as many as possible recorded short video greetings to wish NYSTESOL a happy 50th. And I think, your past president, well, now I'm a past president, so I take it personally. You're quickly cast to the side, even though you.
Oh, Laura.
Well, I'm still active in the role of past president on the board, but once I'm off the board, and I'm really a past president, you kind of some people just run like hell in the other direction, so you never see them again. But some people, I think, would come back to do things, but no one asked them to, because it's oh, they did enough. But they cared so much about the organization, so they don't want to be forgotten. Bring in your past presidents, and they're also people who have large networks. So
wait, Laura, I think I'm nominating you for a new position now for next year.
No. That's okay. I am running like hell. I'm in that category. No, just kidding. So yeah, I think it made them feel so good. And what was interesting is normally we have a big dinner on one of the nights of the conference, and that's when your past presidents kind of come in on the walkers or whatever. They show up for it, but nobody sees them because nobody comes to that dinner because they got to pay extra for it. So one of the cool things was so many people got to actually see we hosted an awards thing with we ended the conference with all of our 50 past presidents coming up on the Zoom. They were crying. They hadn't seen each other in so many years. And people got to witness what is it like to to have these friendships, that you build through this work. I mean, some of you I've never met, but I know you from some of these Zooms, or I know you from Facebook. And of course, when we see each other eventually in exciting Pittsburgh, we will grab that plane to Greece and get the hell out of Pittsburgh. No, we will have fun in Pittsburgh. So there's just this connection you have to TESOL people. They're my people. It's my tribe. It's my people. And I think that when people newer to being in a professional association see the fun and the friendship, they kind of get a little more of the idea of why people stay and volunteer. And Monica and I are owed a big dinner because we had nice dresses. I got like a navy blue hex number 06874, whatever the NYSTESOL blue is. I'm ready to go. So someone needs to invite us to something.
I know. Can we just be honest? It's really terrible to be an affiliate leader during COVID. Like, we get none of the perks, you know, we don't get to travel. We don't get to like go to parties, none of it. So yeah, Laura and we're going to plan something when this is a little bit better.
Yeah. We didn't even get the free bagel and coffee, you know, lunch, breakfast. I mean, we got the breakfast. So we're going to do something about that. Okay, another thing, again, along the lines of trust issues is I did a lot of training of the Zoom hosts. So we had 100 sessions, and we needed, so let's say Bessie, and are you Christina's aunt, Giannikas? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, she's told me about you. That's awesome. You have like the family love in TESOL. I love her. She's a good friend. Anywho, what I did was for every Zoom room, I designated a host and a co-host. So let's say Hind was my host, but something, God forbid, happened with her internet and like she was going to have a problem. Then let's say Jorge was going to be there. He was going to be the backup. So that was something that I just felt would be a good idea just in case. And all of the hosts had to participate in a training, and we gave them what's your Zoom background. We gave them a Zoom slide set for transitioning. We went over what to do, and they had to be a chat cheerleader is what we call it. You know, I won't diss Pittsburgh anymore. We're all thrilled. We counted.
No, I am so excited to go to Pittsburgh. I don't care where we're going to gather.
Pittsburgh
we're
is
just getting
cute.
together.
It's great. It's fabulous. So that was an important, I think, element that the hosts, you know, you have to be the one to be lively. You have to infuse, because you're going to have some presenters who are stiffer, who are not going to connect as much, and you want to have hosts who will keep the energy flowing and check everything. And all the hosts were matched with the speakers before the conference. So they had to email them and set up a time, because some of the presenters weren't used to presenting on Zoom either. So we wanted to make sure they were fine and they were going to be ready. Okay, I'm going to get in big trouble about Pittsburgh now, aren't I? I always do that. I just try to be funny and then I offend somebody, so I'm sorry.
No, we're going to have a blast in Pittsburgh. I'm so excited.
I know. I can't wait.
Who's ready to party in Pittsburgh with us?
Yay,
dresses. Put it in the chat. If you're partying in Pittsburgh next year, put it in the chat. We're all going.
New York TESOL, we always do a big social event, and you know it's fun. So come. And
we're gonna bring a disco ball. We're gonna have so much fun.
We better book that, actually. So Margie, tell us what's hip, where we need to have this party. Okay. Now, during the conference itself, so some things I think we've said, but we just want to emphasize. Leave room for the emotions. Leave room for, you know, the poignant moments, the funny moments. Keep that shout out, you know, even just like I'm using some of your names like Valerie, you know, Maria. People want to know that you see them there, that they're there, you know. And that's part of what we know is like online teacher presence, but also keeps the interaction going. The positive attitude, you know, was mentioned how draining it is. You know, I literally sat for like 3 days at a computer and my daughter would like bring tea to the side for me. It is really draining, which is why like Monica and I together, you really need someone else to be there. when you're frantically, where is Stephen Krashen? I'm going to die. Somebody, so it's not all on you.
But also, just like
Yeah.
Laura and I are talking and interrupting each other, which is the
Yeah.
New York way, like that's what. But you also need that, because just one talking head is just so monotonous. So even just us going back and forth and interrupting each other and cracking jokes, like it just, it keeps people awake.
Are you people awake? If you're awake,
I hope so.
Go to the chat, and what I'd love for you to do is tell us why you want to get a free New York TESOL conference for this fall. Tell us why, and Monica will then be picking some winners. Okay, another thing that was kind of fun that we did was we made a Padlet where anyone attending the conference would post, is this your first time? Where are you coming from? Put a photo, and it was actually beautiful. And I can share the link. It's still there. I mean, there was just hundreds of Padlet posts, which became like a cork board, again, in a very low cost way. So that was kind of nice, right, Monica? I was surprised by the Padlet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just think people want to interact. They want to try out different platforms. Padlet is so easy. I'm not one for 10 million different tech tools. I keep it simple. That's how I teach. And I think a lot can be said for that with conference planning too. Keep it simple, but Padlets are easy. Most people know how to jump on and use one.
Yes, exactly. And it was kind of neat. Another thing we did was we tried to encourage / shame and guilt colleges or universities to participate. So one of the challenges we have is we have a lot of practitioners involved in our conference, but the institutions that prepare teachers, so teacher education, TESOL programs, where there's many in New York State, a lot of those faculty don't actually participate in the conference because they're above it all, God knows what. So we wanted to shame them / encourage them to have a presence. So what we did was say, hey, do you want to place your logo from your university on our conference site? And of course, I work at Hunter College, so that's not a problem. And there's a lot of us who are in leadership who are at some of the universities. So we got enough to say, hey, Teachers College and NYU and, is all here. Where are you? And then they're like, oh, we got to send a logo. And so we wound up getting, I think, a little more recognition from a lot of the institutions, because it's really important to have those preparation programs involved. Okay. Monica's going to do the plug now for our next conference, our 51st hybrid conference.
Okay, so I know it says right here, proposal deadline March 28th. Ignore that. I just extended it. It's April 15th. So you have a few more days to get your proposal in. This is how, even though Laura just talked about planning a virtual conference, I'm throwing all of that out the window and mixing it all up for this year, because that's what we do. We complicate things. So we are trying to plan a hybrid conference for this year. Fingers crossed, toes crossed. We are planning for an all virtual day on November 4th. November 5th and 6th, we are planning to be at the Sonesta Hotel in White Plains, New York.
Which is almost as exciting as Pittsburgh.
So exciting, so exciting. So listen, I want everyone right now to write down November 4th, 5th, and 6th. Save those dates, because everyone here, we're going to give everyone here right now in this room the virtual day of our conference free. To everyone who sat through our presentation with us, everyone's coming to our virtual day for free, which is November 4th. So write it down now. But here's the big thing. Is there anyone? I'm going to give away one free in-person registration, which is like a $300 value, because we give you lunch, we give you breakfast. If you were willing to fly to White Plains, New York on November 5th and 6th, The first person who writes "I love New York" in the chat, we will pay for your registration if you can fly to New York. Okay, I think Karen Newman.
Woo!
Karen's gonna fly to New York and be with us. Yay!
Whoa, that is exciting. Okay. And you know what? Listen, if anybody else really wants to come, just email us later, okay?
Email us and we'll cut you a deal.
We'll see what we can do. We'll hook you up. You know what? Affiliate leaders, we have to, really support each other. We're doing the work. We're pulling along the ship. And just in terms of this group, I think I was involved in TESOL for a long time in the teacher education intersection, but I really was, I was involved in my affiliate also in teacher education, but I don't think I really appreciated the richness of the just the range of affiliates that we have until I became an affiliate leader. So James and George and all of you who have really, I think, lifted up what the ANPC does, I think is fabulous. And I think, it's a shifting time. There's a lot of transition going on. So whereas before, when I joined TESOL, 25 years ago, I felt like the affiliate was just this little nothing and it was just big TESOL. Everything was big TESOL. But I think things have changed. And I think all of you, the work that you're doing in your affiliates, the boundaries are blurred. We are more connected than ever. And I think TESOL can learn a lot from affiliate conferences. So I'm super excited. I see Gabby's here. If she hasn't fallen asleep, because it's probably, well, no, it's like, I don't know, 10 p.m. or something there. So I'm really looking forward to telling Gabby all the awesome things that the New York TESOL has done. Yay, Gabby. Welcome. We're excited, very excited to have you. And
okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt you, Laura.
No,
so so that I can make sure everyone gets their November 4th virtual day registration, I just put my email in the chat. Please email me right after this. Please don't share with anyone. This is just for the people who are with us today, who joined us today. Your free November 4th virtual day registration to join us. But please, 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 like Laura said, if you really are willing to fly to New York to be with us in November, email me or email Laura and we will make it work. We'll figure something out because we want you there. We really want everyone. It's kind of like, we're going to join in Pittsburgh, but maybe we need a practice run. So let's do it in November.
Totally. We're going to get our dresses on and you can see us strut our stuff. I'm going to come out of sweatpants for the first
I haven't worn heels in over a year now. So we need to
Monica has some heels, people. You really need to get heels. I don't need heels because I'd be like 6'8" if I put heels on. But yes, she's got it. So we thank you very much for this opportunity to share. If you have any questions, let us know. We're here in the chat through the next little bit of the event. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you both so much for such an inspirational talk. I'm excited and certainly looking forward to learning from New York State TESOL. So I will see you in White Plains, New York. And check out those publishing houses. You guys might remember from your studies having to cite sources, and it seems like a lot of the books were always in White Plains, New York.